God bless America. Hello, everybody. I'm the Talk Radio Protege. This is the Protege program. It's take two of this video because near the end I had a brain fart that was so devastating I decided I just need to, scrap it and start over. So we're continuing coverage of Roy Moore and the allegations surrounding him and his campaign for Alabama Senate. On Tuesday night, Sean Hannity apparently delivered an ultimatum to Judge Moore asking for an explanation to remove, quote, all doubt within 24 hours. In response, Judge Moore wrote the following letter to Sean Hannity, and we'll be getting Hannity's response towards the end of this video. I want to read most of this letter in full, and I'll be, I don't know why this thing is annotated by the Washington Post, and I don't know what the annotations mean. Are we not supposed to read the highlighted parts? Maybe I'll Google that as this video continues. So here we go. Dear Sean, I am suffering the same treatment other Republicans have had to endure. A month prior to the general election for U.S. Senate in Alabama, I have been attacked by the Washington Post and other liberal media in an attempt to smear my character and defeat my campaign. Over the last 40 years, I have held several public offices, including Deputy District Attorney, Circuit Judge, and Chief Judge of the Alabama Supreme Court. In addition to running 5 statewide and 3 county campaigns for public office, I have been involved in 2 major controversies that have attracted national attention. One about the Ten Commandments, and the other the sanctity of marriage. The Alabama Judicial Inquiry Commission, Court of the Judiciary, and Attorney General have investigated, scrutinized, examined, and vetted me, not to mention every opposing candidate against whom I have run. I have been married for almost 33 years to my wife, Kayla. We have 4 children and 5 granddaughters. We are in the process of investigating these false allegations to determine their origin and motivation. For instance, we have documented that the most recent accuser, Beverly Nelson, was a party in a divorce action before me in Etowah County Circuit Court in 1999. No motion was made for me to recuse. In her accusations, Nelson did not mention that I was the judge assigned to her divorce case in 1999. A matter that apparently caused her no distress at a time that was 18 years closer to the alleged assault. Yet 18 years later, while talking before the cameras about the supposed assault, she seemingly could not attain her emotions. My signature on the order of dismissal in the divorce case was annotated with the letters D.A., representing the initials of my court assistant. Curiously, the supposed yearbook description is also followed by the same initials, D.A. But at the time, I was Deputy District Attorney, not District Attorney. Those initials, as well as the date under the signature block and the printed name of the restaurant, are written in a style inconsistent with the rest of the yearbook inscription. The 7s in Christmas 1977 are in a noticeably different script than the 7s in the date 12/22/77. I believe tampering has occurred. Are we at a stage in American politics in which false allegations can overcome a public record of 40 years, stampede the media and politicians to condemn an innocent man, and potentially impact the outcome of an election of national importance, when allegations of events occurring 40 years ago and never before mentioned during a 40-year career of public service are brought out and taken seriously only 30 days before a critical election, we may be in trouble as a country. I adamantly deny the allegations of Lee Corfman and Beverly Nelson did not date underage girls and have taken steps to begin a civil action for defamation. Because of that, at the direction of counsel, I cannot comment further. Now, some of the claims made by in this letter by Judge Moore are very interesting. First of all, the Judge Moore presiding over a divorce case by Beverly Nelson. I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist. I've never studied those things. Excuse me. But it does seem strange to me that a person who is incapable of controlling their emotions 40 years after an incident involving a person that they're just thinking about, being able to control their emotions standing in that person's presence 22 years after the alleged incident, that doesn't compute with me. That doesn't make sense. I don't care, I don't care what people say about the trauma of sexual assault and how that may make people act in a way that's counterintuitive. This is totally counterintuitive. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. There's also the issue with the DA annotations. I heard from another source that the DA indicates that the signature is not original by Judge Moore, but is in fact a stamp that is used by the district attorney, or not the district attorney, his assistant. So it seems entirely plausible to me that the inscription written by written in the yearbook is not written by Judge Moore whatsoever, but that a stamp used by Judge Moore was obtained by the person wishing to write the inscription in the yearbook. Then they, wrote the letters, wrote Christmas 1977, and then stamped Judge Moore's name. The DA ends up on the paper as well, and then they write down 12/22/77, and that's how the scripts become different. If this is the case, then I believe that tampering is very probable. I think it's interesting also, I pointed out in a video yesterday that, Roy Moore has been running for public office for 40 years. He ran as a Democrat and a Republican for multiple positions, as he stated in this letter, county and statewide Alabama elections. And never before have these accusations come up. It's always the case, with the mainstream media and national politics involved, that the sexual allegations come up in national elections. They come up with when the Washington, New York, and D.C. media gets involved. It doesn't. These kinds of allegations don't happen in local elections unless they're true. But this is not a local election. This is a national election with the liberal Democrat mainstream media involved. I don't know why he says, I adamantly deny the allegations of Lee Korfman and Beverly Nelson, while not mentioning the other girls, although I suppose that could be under the umbrella statement of did not date underage girls. That's my thoughts on the letter, but I think it's important to get Hannity's response as well, because this is, not only is this the person that has asked for the statement, but remember that Hannity is a person that's friendly to the Judge Moore case and is probably familiar with Judge Moore as well. So take that for what it's worth. Let's get his response.
Now, we demanded rightly answers from Judge Moore. He provided them to the specific questions we asked.
So Hannity is at least content with the answers given by Judge Moore. He's going to give a few more statements that I think is important to hear.
in my opinion, so serious. The people of Alabama, they need to know the truth, and they've got to have all the facts that they need. And that means that the Alabama voters can make an educated, informed, inclusive decision for their state when they go to the polls. And if that means, whatever it means, to get to the truth, if it means more time, I believe the governor, according to Greg Jarrett, has the ability to make that decision.
That's interesting to me that the governor has the authority to reschedule this election. And I think that that would be of the utmost importance. Whether or not Judge Moore decides to drop out of the race, I think that an extension is probably a good idea for this election. We need, as Sean says, time is needed in order to vet these allegations in order to determine their truthfulness or not. In all likelihood, many of these allegations are not designed to last under lasting scrutiny. The October surprise, as it's called in the presidential general elections, they are allegations that come up 30 days or less leading up to the presidential election because they're going to be in people's minds when they're casting their votes, and there's not a lot of time to vet the allegations. The dates of the elections are not going to be moved, so those October surprises are naturally scheduled for those times, sometimes not on purpose, as in the reopening of the Hillary email investigation by FBI Director James Comey. Sometimes absolutely verifiably on purpose, as in the release of the Access Hollywood tape concerning candidate Donald Trump. I would not be surprised, and I do not doubt that this swarm of allegations brought against Judge Moore is at least somewhat coordinated, is at minimum thought out somewhat carefully by anti-conservative, anti-Republican forces in the Washington establishment. Let's continue watching this because I'm going to make some comments that dovetail with Hannity's as well.
The Alabama people deserve that. Greg Jarrett said the governor can delay the race if need be. Now, the people of Alabama deserve to have a fair choice, especially in light of the new allegations tonight. Now, we have told you everyone's point of view. The accusers continue to have an open invitation to come on this show and share their story. At the end of the day, I want to tell you something.
Now, again, I'm not a professional in psychology, but it says something to me when a person who's making these kinds of accusations is not willing to go on to what, from the left's point of view, would be a hostile environment on a show like Sean Hannity's, on a show like Tucker Carlson's. Why would these women not be willing to go on those shows and tell their stories, especially if they are true?
I lived in Alabama. I enjoyed my time in Alabama. And I know these people. They're smart. They're great Americans. God, family, faith, country. And I am very confident that when everything comes out, they will make the best decision for their state. Shouldn't be decided by me, by people on television, by Mitch McConnell, Washington, talk show hosts, news people. One more thing. There's a report, by the way.
That's the last of his comments on the on the Roy Moore letter. And that's what I said yesterday. If these allegations are not true, or if these allegations are true and charges are not brought, then I do not believe that it is the place of the Washington elite or even of the state of Alabama to remove Judge Moore from this candidacy. I think that would be a disservice to our republic and democracy. After all, we had allegations against candidates Trump and Clinton last year, and they were allowed to run regardless of the seriousness of those allegations. Allegations in the case of Miss Clinton, I would argue, are much more severe. I think it is absolutely up to the voters of the state of Alabama to make this decision. As I said yesterday, if these allegations are true, then Judge Moore knows they are true, and the honorable thing to do would be to step down from the race. Strategically, I think that the governor of Alabama ought to reschedule the election just because there is so much effort being made to basically get a Democrat elected to this Senate seat. That could be the objective of the governor of Alabama. I would not think so, but I don't know anything about the governor. He could be an establishment type of Republican that wants to see Trump fail and therefore would be happy to see Judge Moore defeated in this election. That's going to do it, though, for this video. I think I'm losing my voice. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, whether you agree, disagree. If you like this video, feel free to leave a like, hit subscribe, hit the bell for notifications so that you don't miss a single video. I'm uploading every weekday, even on the sick days. Thank you again so much for watching. Until next time, good night and God bless.